Hello. This is my latest book, The Liquidation of Raoul Wallenberg. Uncovered the missing evidence, Nikita Khrushchev's secret investigation. Raoul Wallenberg was liquidated, murdered, executed. His fate is no longer conjecture. It's fact, and I have the evidence. The smoking gun on what did happen to the Swedish diplomat once he was lifted out of war-torn Budapest by Khrushchev agents in January 1945. His liquidation by the Russian intelligence services was in 1947. And I've seen where his ashes were taken to the Donskoye crematorium, a 30-minute drive from the Lubyanka. I say where his ashes were taken. Actually, his body was cremated and unceremoniously the ashes were dumped in a pit in the ground. The files of the Swedish Foreign Ministry in Stockholm are bulging with sightings of Wallenberg over several decades and well into the 1980s. And I viewed very many of those. He was sighted in prison camps in the Gulag, in psychiatric hospitals, in isolation with other prisoners in obscure islands. There were so many of these sightings, hundreds and hundreds of them. Some of these supposed sightings and even contact with a Swede had been reported in good faith, but so many were merely an utter fabrication. They have no credence whatsoever. Only sightings from his arrest by Khrushchev until and including 1947 might have some element of veracity. My name is Nigel Bantz, and I am the author of The Liquidation of Raoul Wallenberg. I'm a long-standing British investigative writer and journalist. And I have to tell you that this book and its contents are certainly extraordinary and highly revealing. My discovery of the smoking gun was no accident. Ever since the late 1980s, when communism in the former Soviet Union collapsed, I had travelled very frequently to Moscow and to other Russian cities. I was the publisher of a major oil and gas international journal that gave me access to former secret establishments in Russia that historically had researched and prepared maps of the country's energy wealth. I was pursuing another avenue of research into atomic weapon espionage. The KGB gave me access to one of its top spy masters, and I built up a small but highly proficient contact network of both former KGB and serving KGB officers, and many key scientists who had or were still involved in Russia's nuclear and weapons program. The KGB spy master had been keen to help and gave me access to people I would certainly never have got close to. Why did the KGB want to assist me? That is a question I can't really answer. Suffice to say that the KGB did keep a close tab on where I went. In the early 1990s, the chiefs at the KGB knew that researchers like me were prizing open dark secrets of the past. Secrets that the KGB were desperate to keep secret and buried for good. A document relating to Raoul Wallenberg was handed to me. I hadn't asked for it. It was handed to me. The date was June 2002, and it was a boiling hot day in Moscow. I was in Moscow again to see, yet again, the KGB spy master. And in London, we had organised this latest trip. I have to tell you that visas were never any problem for me. But on this boiling hot day in Moscow, there certainly was a problem. I was warned off by a threatening voice on the spy master's phone when I called ahead in the car. We decided to carry on to his apartment block, but to no avail. The curtains remained open, but we saw no one. No one came to the window. We rang the bell many times. I knocked on the front door of the apartment block, but obviously I couldn't get access. Something had happened. That evening I met up with one of my contacts, a former KGB officer, who came from a family steeped in KGB tradition and employment. I told him what had happened during the day. He just shrugged his shoulders and made no comment. We had a drink, and an A4 buff envelope was deftly manoeuvred towards me with instructions only to open in the confines of my hotel room. After another drink and dinner, I did return to my room, opened this envelope, and the contents were startling. And the following day I would have a meeting with a member of the Ivan Serov family who had asked to see me. Ivan Serov had been the very first chairman of the KGB on its formation in March 1954, and he was later to head the GRU, the highly respected counterintelligence department of the Soviet Army. Ivan Serov's long career in intelligence and security was characterized by murderous notoriety. Even after he was kicked out of the GRU in disgrace in 1962 because of a spy scandal, he remained reviled throughout the Soviet Union. To Serov, human life was of little consequence. He had enjoyed the full trappings of power, allied first to Stalin and then to Nikita Khrushchev, and he died just before communism in the Soviet Union collapsed. In the Serov family apartment, very close to the British Embassy and facing the Kremlin across the Moscow River, I viewed the contents of 3 upright holders stuffed with Serov's private papers, letters, documents. And this was a treasure trove of World War II and early Cold War secrets. This was an archive that should have been given in to the intelligence authorities once Ivan Serov had died, but it hadn't. One paper in Ivan Serov's archive revealed how and when Raoul Wallenberg had met his end. Ivan Serov had conducted an investigation into who had ordered Wallenberg's execution in 1947. That investigation ran from December 1953 until March 1954, for 4 months. Commissioned by Khrushchev, the General Secretary of the Communist Party, the investigation was run in the very greatest of secrecy, which even meant falsifying the career records of several of the intelligence officers who formed this little group. My second video will specifically address what Serov and his fellow investigation officers unearthed. And in an extraordinary twist in the story of what happened to Raoul Wallenberg, Serov reveals that there had been a window of opportunity for Sweden to get back its man. But the Swedish government in late 1946 had rejected Moscow's offer. That decision had cost Raoul Wallenberg his life, and for the next few months he remained incarcerated in his Moscow cell. But he now only had a short time to live. Thank you for watching. My book is available to order from all bookshops and Amazon, and it is well documented with approximately 50 pages of photographs. Some of those photographs are totally unique.